Hello, brothers and sisters of the NALC. Today's episode: what do you do if you see a supervisor casing mail, pulling down mail, driving out sections or swings or bumps to carriers? Now that's interesting. Some don't believe that is craft work. What if you see them delivering express mail, parcels, doing red books, markups, or, of course, our bread and butter, delivering the mail? Well, you are going to file a grievance. Yes. The PS Form 1723 is the controlling document as to whether a letter carrier is in supervisory or 204B status. Of course, eyewitness testimonies will be beneficial for the time and to establish the violation of a supervisor or a 204B performing bargaining unit work. For example, if a PS Form 1723 was not updated, yet we see that letter carrier at the desk in civilian clothes giving instructions, of course, we're going to argue they are still in a supervisory status, and we're going to file an additional grievance for not updating the PS Form 1723 and providing it to us, to the union. Now, Article 1.6, Section 6 reads, performance of bargaining unit work. Supervisors are prohibited from performing bargaining unit work at post offices with 100 or more bargaining unit employees, except, number 1, in an emergency situation. Number 2, for the purpose of training or instruction of employees. Number 3, to assure the proper operation of equipment. And number 4, to protect the safety of employees. And 5, to protect the property of the USPS. Now, establishing an emergency situation, almost impossible, because understaffing is not an emergency situation. How to protect the property of the USPS? I don't know how delivering mail would protect the property of the USPS. Yeah, so there's hardly any ways for management to prevail on this grievance if we have our facts in the file. Step 4 decision, M0496, reads, a 204B employee who anticipates returning to the bargaining unit and desires to work overtime within the applicable quarter must initially sign up on the overtime desired list in accordance with Article 8, Section 5A. That's interesting, isn't it? So there's no provision for a 204B to sign up as soon as they end their 204B detail to sign the overtime desired list. It says, Section 5A of the 1978 National Agreement. However, an employee in a 204B status is not eligible to perform bargaining unit work. Form 1723 is the controlling document to determine whether the employee is in a 204B status. Now, if we read that together with JCAM page 1-5, let's read that now. We come to the conclusion, a very clear conclusion. It says there, the prohibition against supervisors performing bargaining unit work also applies to acting supervisors. The PS Form 1723, which shows the times and dates of the 204B detail, is the controlling document for determining whether an employee is in a 204B status. A separate PS Form 1723 is used for each detail. A single detail may not be broken up on multiple PS Form 1723 for the purpose of using a 204B on overtime in lieu of a bargaining unit employee. Article 41 1A2 requires that a copy of the PS Form 1723 be provided to the union at the local level. An acting supervisor or 204B may not be used in lieu of a bargaining unit employee for the purpose of bargaining unit overtime. An employee detailed to an acting supervisory position will not perform bargaining unit overtime immediately prior to or immediately after such detail on the day he or she was in a 204B status unless all available bargaining unit employees are utilized. So we come to the clear conclusion that although a 204B can be a letter carrier in the morning and a 204B in the afternoon, it cannot be the other way around. In other words, they can't start the morning as a 204B and then work overtime in the letter carrier craft that day simply by adjusting the PS Form 1723, putting them back into carrier status. How many times do they try that? We must put a stop to that immediately, and we have sound contractual basis to do so. Article 1.4, let's read that. It says, subject to the foregoing exclusions, the agreement shall be applicable to all employees in the regular workforce of the U.S. Postal Service as defined in Article 7 at all present and subsequently acquired installations, facilities, and operations of the employer wherever located. So yes, these prohibitions will still apply at these new Super SDC centers, no matter how many crafts are under one building. Now, what evidence will you need in order to sustain, to prevail in this grievance? You will need witness statements, even if you're the only witness. And this is very important. We must be brave. We must stand up for what is right. So don't turn a blind eye. Interviews with carriers will also be valuable. We can ask for the supervisor's clock rings. Although these are automatic and they're not going to show them clocking over to the route probably, at least we can establish that they were at work on the day in question. Of course, you'll also need an idea of how long they were performing craft work. Now, this is where the witness statements come in, interviewing that supervisor or manager, and also what may help by process of elimination in examining the route carrier daily performance report. The route carrier daily performance report. See, in this report, management must break up the work of each route and distribute it among letter carriers. So, if it doesn't show that a letter carrier did a swing or that part of the route, or it does show a letter carrier did it, but that letter carrier, although assigned it, because it will say projected, actual, and then variance. So if they assigned it to letter carrier, but that letter carrier didn't do it, but it got done very mysteriously, by process of elimination, we'll be able to put another facet of evidence in there, establishing the data corroborates the witness statement, even if management denies it, and we'll be able to establish a violation. Now, what about express mail? Now, it's true that or policies say that no, it does not belong to any one craft. So you will have to build this prohibition progressively. You'll have to try to start with local decisions that state that the delivery of express mail is city letter carrier work, and that only city letter carriers are to deliver express mail. You'll want these decisions at informal, and then of course citable at formal A. Your LMOU may also contain a provision that defines who should deliver express mail. You must make the argument that there has been harm to the letter carriers by the supervisors performing craft work, and that in keeping with arbitral precedents, a monetary remedy is warranted for the missed overtime opportunity. You will also argue that there is no evidence of any emergency situation. Again, understaffing is not an emergency situation. At Formal A, your issue statement could read something like this. Did management violate Article 1.6a, Article 8, Article 15, and 19 via the M41? When the postmaster, manager, or supervisor performed craft work as a matter of course on, fill in the blank for the date or dates. If you have local decisions, cease and desists, Formal A's, Step B's that have been found in your favor where management violated the contract by performance bargaining unit work, you can also insert those numbers in the issue statement, especially at Step B or precedential Formal A's, saying that management also violated those decisions. Now, what will your remedy be? A cease and desist, and to pay the ODL for the missed opportunity. But what if the ODL was already maxed that day? Can you still prevail on those grievances? Yes, I have done it. They've been upheld time after time at Step B. They will still pay the ODL. See, just because the ODL is maxed, it's not one of the 5 reasons why a supervisor can perform bargaining unit work. It's really that simple. Brothers and sisters, we lose 100% of the grievances we do not file. I'll leave you with this image you see here. I thought it was cute. The letter carrier is asking the other female letter carrier, "Are you a worker bee?" She says, "No, I'm a 204 bee." Until next time, brothers and sisters, don't let them get away with anything.
If I could write you a song and make you fall in love, I will already have you up under my